The year is 2001, and you wake up convinced, absolutely convinced, that you are a spy. There were so many amazing spy related detective movies that I was obsessed with growing up. Catch That Kid and Spy Kids, and then Get a Clue with Lindsay Lohan. I just said Lohan, like there was a D at the end of her name. There were just so many different spy movies that I was literally obsessed with, and I could honestly still watch them over and over to this day. And that's actually what I did this past weekend. I rewatched Spy Kids. I did have to get a free trial of Stars on my Hulu account, and I did remember to cancel the free trial, surprisingly. I think that's the first time I've ever remembered to cancel a free trial in my life. But I'm really glad that I signed up for that, because I'm really glad I got to watch Spy Kids. It was very essential to my childhood and also to my irrational concept that I was a spy. But we're going to get into that in a little bit. I just wanted to go ahead and intro this and say, what's up, guys? I'm super glad you guys are here, and I'm really excited to dig more into this episode and talk all about Spy Kids. And I do want to say really quick that if you like what you hear, you can hop on over to iTunes Podcasts and you can leave a review for the podcast. I wanted to read one that was actually left this week, and her username is Lists Keep Me Alive, which is a really fun username. But she says, hands down, she's the big sister that everyone needs in their lives. She's wise and real and wonderful. I'm so thankful for this podcast and for Jamie Grace. That's really nice. I'm honestly so grateful for that. I mean, I've made so many random changes to this podcast over the years, from it being literally exclusively about my singlehood. And then when I fell in love and got married, I felt like it was messy for me to just act like I just knew everything about singlehood. And so we transitioned there. And then I had the amazing opportunity to really expand one of my huge passions, which is comedy. By studying at the Groundlings and by getting an amazing opportunity with YouTube. And so now I get to really bring all of the things that I love together, which is faith and conversations of relationships and pop culture. I get to bring it all together under this crazy umbrella that is the Jamie Grace podcast. And so the fact that you guys are rolling with me and riding with me on all of this, I just really appreciate it. And I have so much fun making these episodes, and I'm so grateful that you guys listen. So we're going to talk about Spy Kids today, so stay tuned. Good evening, darlings. Is it on? My name is Grandma Yolanda, and I wanted to come on the podcast today to talk to you guys. A lot of you guys, if you've been watching Jamie Grace on YouTube for a while, then you're quite familiar with my work. I know I've become sort of a celebrity over the years. Everybody's been wondering, where have you been? Where'd you go? What you doing? Is you breathing? Are you okay? Granny, are you okay? Are you okay, Granny? Yes, I'm okay, darlings. I'm okay. I took some time to spend the days, the beautiful, precious, quarantined days with my granddaughter Rebecca, spelled like Rebecca in the Bible. We've been spending a lovely time together. Oh, I have so much to catch you up on. Anyways, I'm supposed to be reading an advertisement. Let me get the advertisement together. Okay, let's see. If you like it, then you should. Oh, nope, that's not the advertisement. Okay, if you like the content that you're hearing, understand that it's independently funded. This doesn't sound very hopeful. My gosh, it doesn't sound like a commercial. It sounds like one of those sad things that they play back at the home. If you're allergic to the medication, don't take the medication. It might cause you to lose your license or something. Oh my goodness. Remember Olivia with the driver's license? She just got a driver's license, and then that little boy was running around with that other girl. My goodness, I can't believe him. I was telling my granddaughter Rebecca, like Rebecca in the Bible, I said, you gotta get it together. We're all in this together. Just like the song they sing on the show in the High School Musical, the movie, the series, the television series of the elementary school. I'm telling you, back in my day, it would have been nothing like it anyways. Back to my script here. If you like the content and you want to keep it happening and you want to keep it free, then join the community over at Patreon at patreon.com/Jamie Grace. The link is in the description. It's $5 a month to sponsor this content if you like it. If you like it and you can't afford it, that's okay as well. Leave a review in the iTunes store. It's equally kind, but definitely cheaper. So I remember one of the things about Spy Kids as a kid is that I didn't always know which kid I identified more with. I mean, part of me, like, just that kind of natural inclination is like the way I grew up. And I mean, I'd see like whoever was like the girl character in a movie, I'd be like, oh, I want to be her. I want to be her because I could like see myself in them. So I wanted to be Carmen. I loved her, but at the same time, I wanted to be Junie, or I felt like I related more to Junie because he was the younger sibling. He kind of felt like he couldn't really keep up with like the speed of Carmen's coolness, if you will, and the whole like he had these nervous sweats, I guess, that gave him warts on his fingers, so he had to wear these colorful band-aids all the time. I did not have nervous sweats that gave me warts, but I guess I somehow compared that to having ticks and then decided that I should also be wearing colorful band-aids. It makes no sense. I just wanted an excuse to wear colorful band-aids, I guess. It's amazing the power that movies have on us and just like the influence. And so, I mean, that's a whole nother conversation, but I really want to hop into this recap because I love this movie so, so, so much. So if you have Instagram, I would love it if you hopped on over to my stories at Jamie Grace H and just did a little bit of voting with me. I want to see like who has seen the movie, what's your favorite part, like is there a moment that you remember and stuff like that. Fun little conversation happening in real time on this Saturday. But also, if you're listening to this late, don't worry. I'm probably still talking about Spy Kids in my story because I'm literally always talking about this or High School Musical or Jump 5 or something adjacent in my story. So to this day, I can't necessarily figure out. There's two main things about this movie that I can't figure out. One is I don't know where they are supposed to be living. I believe it was filmed in Utah, except the house maybe in Austin, Texas. So I don't know if they were trying to, present that they lived in Austin or present that they lived in Utah. I'm not really sure, but I know that they filmed in one of those places. I'm sure someone's listening to this and it is probably like really obvious where it's supposed to be located. But I just don't know. And I'm going to explain that later as to why I just don't understand. It just does not make a ton of sense to me. But they live somewhere. It's a mom and a dad, and then Carmen and Junie. The daughter is Carmen, and the younger son is Junie. And it starts off with this beautiful view of water, which is why I'm like, I just don't feel like this is supposed to be set in Texas. Anyways, this beautiful view, and then their house, which is like a very secluded thing. And I'm like, if you live there, like, how are you not already convinced your parents are spies? But whatever, I digress. So they are living here, and then it's like zooming in, and you see Carmen looking out the window. Then their mom's like, guys, it's time to go to bed. And then when they get ready to go to bed, Carmen wants a bedtime story. And they want to know, the mom is wanting to know, okay, what bedtime story do you want? And of course, she says that she wants to hear the story of the two spies. Now, this is going to lead up to one of my favorite moments of the movie. This movie has such great writing. It has so many moments where like the lines still make me smile to this day. They're just such good comebacks, if you will. I love the dialogue in this movie. So the mom tells the story of these two spies, and of course, as we're watching it as the viewer, you're watching the spies being played by the mom and the dad. And it's like this whole situation where they both were sent out on a mission to kill another spy, I was about to say a neighboring spy, but like like another spy, and it's each other. I should also note that they have yet to meet at this point, and so, but they do meet, and then they like fall in love, but they have to like date in secret, and then they want to get married, and it's this whole story about how like marriage is the biggest mission of all. It's a really beautiful theme of family in this movie. The end of this movie, oh my gosh, it's okay, so many things. It's 10:44 at night and I'm already 9 minutes into this episode. Oh my goodness. Okay, Jamie, breathe, it's so good. So they're having what's happening. So they get married, and then they kind of have to like settle down and retire because obviously like that was a messy life to be living, and now they're trying to, live a little bit more of like a traditional life. And so, the kids go to sleep. You kind of get a little bit of like an insight to the whole thing that I was talking about with like the warts and the colorful band-aids. And then the kids go to sleep, and then the mom goes downstairs and sees the dad. And I'm paraphrasing here, but there's just kind of this dialogue of the dad saying, what bedtime story did you tell them? And the mom says, ours. Oh my goodness. It's so great. That's like one of my favorite moments ever because it's just like this. it's just this like moment where it's just like, oh my gosh, it was true. Like you guys were the spies. Um, I love that moment a whole lot. So that's what happens there. Then there is also just this kind of moment where the dad is kind of seemingly intrigued by going back out on another mission. Kind of has like a little bit of like Incredibles vibes, where the dad's like, "Oh, mission, mission, we're not gonna be a regular family." Which I looked it up. Incredibles came out 3 years later, so yeah, this probably inspired that. This inspired everything. And the mom, well, I actually don't really remember what the mom's reaction is, but nonetheless, everybody goes to sleep. The next morning, one of the traditional family days, they're off, going to school and everything. And you see this like ropes course that the kids are doing. And then I think Carmen is the one that's like, why do we have to do this every morning? Which Alexa Panavega, you know that I love you dearly if you're listening to this. So I'm not like I'm not mocking your voice. I'm just like, that's not what you sound like at all. I'm just a dork. Okay. So that's kind of what happens. And you see these kids, I mean, clearly spy kids, right? They're in training, which is so cool, so clever that they've got this ropes course thing. I was always so jealous that I did not have a ropes course in my house. I also think this is the first moment where you really kind of get a glimpse of how much they bicker and how much they argue as brother and sister, because they already kind of have a few moments earlier, but like this is like the first moment where like Junie falls while he's trying to complete the ropes course and Carmen just does not show any kind of empathy. So I think this is the first moment where it's like, ow, y'all ain't cool. So they hop in the car. Actually, I think this might have been the night before, or at some point, the parents have a conversation about like how the kids have been lying to them. Like Junie doesn't really have any friends. He's like made up all these friends. Oh, it's so sad. And then Carmen is skipping school. She's been lying about that. And I'm just gonna go ahead and say this so I don't forget. The reason why I get so confused as to where they're supposed to be located is that later in the movie, Carmen said that she skipped school and went to Belize. So I'm just trying to figure out how she, a minor, just like went to Belize. Like, where do they live that is practical? You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's why I'm confused. I'm like, oh, y'all live in Utah? Oh, Texas. Okay. I'm a little confused by that. So please tweet me or Instagram me or something if you figure that out, because I would love to know. Then next we've got, the kind of, like I said, the morning where they're going off to school. Junie's kind of living in his false world with all of like his little cartoon characters and stuff. There's this TV show that he is obsessed with. And the actor, oh my gosh, I feel so bad because I can never, you know what, let me not say it. Well, I practically already said it. Y'all, I can't really, I forget his name. And it makes me mad that I forget Alan Cumming, that's his name, because he plays Floop in this movie, but he also plays Rooster in Annie, my favorite production of Annie. And he is one of the greatest actors, most talented humans. And I feel so bad that I forget his name. And he's Scottish, so he has a really cool voice. Anyway, so Alan Cumming, he plays this character named Floop that has this TV show. And it's this really quirky, interesting show with these weird characters called Fooglies. And it just tries, I guess, teach kids like imaginative play and stuff like that. But it seems pretty creepy. The parents are not vibing with this show, and they even like don't like the fact that Junie is like creating his own Foogly, his own character, and it just kind of bothers the parents. There's this tiny little moment where the dad is like looking at his stuff from his mission that he is about to go on or hoping to go on, and he sees like one of the missing agents from their agency, their spy agency, and it kind of looks like the Foogly, and he's like, oh my goodness, in his eyes. He doesn't say anything. So that's kind of the setup of the movie. Is like there's something going on. It might be connected to this weird show that my kid is obsessed with, but who really knows? Then we go into another world, and by another world I just mean like another storyline. It actually is not another world, but it looks like another world because it's Floop's castle. You actually get to kind of see the behind the scenes of the show, and this is the second thing that I don't understand. And if somebody else wants to like hit me up, I would love to know if you get it, because I don't know who the bad guy is. Like, I know that there is a bad guy, And it's very clearly this guy that's in Floop's castle. And he's basically just like, yeah, I need you to make me an army. But he never says like who he is or why he needs an army. But nonetheless, he goes to Floop because apparently Floop is the guy to go to make an army for you. He's this creative. He's created all these Fooglies, and he's got these things called Thumb Thumbs that are these creepy characters made out of thumbs. And so he's the guy to go to. And he's got this assistant named Minion that wears glasses. So you know he's a nerd. I wear glasses, I can say that. And that's just the way it goes. So this guy, he brings all these investors and he's like, where's my army? And so Floop shows him these kid robots. One looks like the actual bad guy's kid. The other one looks like the president's daughter. And he's like, these kids are like, they're crazy robot army kids. And so they like tackle the guy and he's like, whoa. And then he tries to talk to him, but the kids don't have a brain. So the kids can't really talk. So then the bad guy gets mad and he's like, I'm coming back in 2 days and you better have everything together. So that's what's happening there. Now we're going to just speed through the rest of this plot because it's really good. You should totally go see it if you haven't. I'm spoiling it for you right now, so that it'll be helpful for you if you think you might be a little bit afraid of something. It's a little bit of a scary movie. But I'm not going to tell you every little detail. So we're back at the house. The parents are ready to go on their mission because they're realizing that this agent that is missing must be found. Who is going to babysit the children? Uncle Felix. Wait, do we ever see what happens to Uncle Felix? And does he die? Hold up. I'm going to have to go reinstate my Stars account. Y'all, do we ever see what happened to him? What happened to Uncle Felix and Spy Kids? I think he just went away. He was turned into a Foogly, and he was presumably switched back. They never tell us. Oh my goodness. Anyways, I don't have all night. R.I.P. Felix. So the parents go on a mission, and then Uncle Felix is like gonna come and watch the kids. But then the Fooglies and the Thumb Thumbs. This is normal. The Fooglies and the Thumb Thumbs break into the house, presumably looking for the parents. But the parents are already gone and they're already on their mission. And then Uncle Felix, he's like, okay, I'm going to have to tell these kids that their parents are spies. And one of my favorite lines, Carmen, is like, our parents can't be spies. They're not cool enough. And then Uncle Felix... excuse me, he shows them this secret closet or whatever. And then Carmen's like, that's cool. I love these little like pieces of dialogue that they have in this film. So yeah, so that happens. And then Uncle Felix, this is actually before this, but Uncle Felix takes off his mustache, which, you know, is the quintessential sign for I'm someone else. He takes off his mustache. She says, first of all, I'm not your uncle. It's like, what? And this is all like while the Thumb Thumbs are just like marching all up in the house. So he kind of gives them some instructions like, oh my goodness, your parents are being tracked by this tracker. Here's some instructions. You got to go get your parents, right? Oh, I think the parents had already been kidnapped. So this is whatever. Who knows? So this is what's happening. Okay. Are you with me? GP, are you with me? Oh yeah, we got the church thing going. You know what? I don't have enough money to be paying Kirk Franklin for singing his songs. So Kirk, that you did not hear what you just heard. You did not. Right? So just roll with that. So Uncle Felix, oh my gosh, I'm still talking about Uncle Felix. And he gone. Somebody is a Foogly. Okay, let me go back to my notes. Okay, so there's a red alert at the house. We already said that. Felix gives them book bags, removes the mustache. They're not cool enough to be spies. Felix is getting beat up, right? The kids are hopping into the little, not aquarium. What's that thing called? A submarine. The kids are getting in that. Felix is getting beat up. The kids are going to a safe house. We can't leave Felix behind. Oh, yes, we can, because he's getting beat up by Thumb Thumb, and that Thumb Thumb better come in here and Thumb Thumb upside my head. So we can leave Thumb Thumb. Y'all better go. You better go somewhere. So that happens. And then the parents are being held hostage. The kids are in this submarine underground, just floating around, trying to figure out how things work. Of course, a little drama ensues, but I'll leave that for when you watch it to see. Then they eventually get to the safe house. Now, the safe house is one of my favorite scenes of this movie, mostly because Carmen has to say her full name to get through the door. I think it was a little bit of like really like neglecting her Latin heritage, and it was just really beautiful to actually hear her say her name. I wish that we could have expanded a little bit more on that, but this is back when movies were like 12 minutes. So is what it is. I would love a remake with like exactly this cast. Like that would change my life. Like please, Macon Trainer, if he can just come on set for just like a few months, weeks, just film this movie, please. I will come help you with the new baby. I got you, boo. I've been through that, girl. That season. That baby be hollering. Okay, so they get to the safe house. They make McDonald's in like 30 seconds. They find all this really cool stuff. And then there's a moment where also, they were told to tell the secret agent people when they get to them that the third brain lives. Then there's a moment where they fix a photo, like a picture frame in the house, and it activates something, and then a little tiny little brain pops up, and it's like, what? Okay, we gotta speed through this. Oh my goodness, we're at 20 minutes. I gotta go to bed. So what's happening? So then the Thumb Thumbs show up at the door alongside this lady who is a bad lady, but she's trying to pretend like she's nice. And they kind of fall for it for a second, and then they show her where the brain is, and then that happens. And then Junie realizes they're fake. I mean, they're bad people. And so then Junie's like, oh snap, we gotta, beat them up. Another great line is when all the bad agents are looking at Carmen and Junie, and they're standing there with these weird spy gadgets, and the lady's like, you don't even know how to use those. And Carmen says, yeah, but I know they're heavy. I just love that moment because I feel like she's just like, look, I'm going to just hit you in the face with these. It's great. And they get pretty startled. And so then the whole fight ensues, beating people up, blah, 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 blah. They're knocking people out. Nobody dies because, except for Felix, but nobody dies because it's a kid's movie. But they do knock people out, set hair on fire, and that kind of thing. And they do get the third brain back, which is a really big deal. So they get the third brain back, and then... oh, at some point, Carmen had seen a picture of their real uncle. She took that, and then the brain is the thing. Pretend to be family with a random couple. Oh, there's this part where the kids are like running away, and they finally like officially escape. And they just pretend to be family with some random couple, in order to like distract the Thumb Thumbs that are trying to catch and murder them, or I guess tickle them. I don't know. It's a kids movie, but this random couple never says like, oh, do I need to call the authorities? Like they just vibe. Like the lady just pats her on the head. Really creepy stuff, but 2001. What am I going to say? Apparently a lot. So then they try to find their actual uncle, like that little picture that she stole. They find him, and it's Danny Trejo, the guy that has a donut shop in California. So they find him, and then they're like, yo, who are you? And they find out he's their uncle, and then Junie has a great line where he says, our real uncle, because we already got a fake uncle, which is just great. Also, did I tell you guys that when Felix was back at the house and right before the Thumb Thumbs got him, right in between when he takes off his mustache and reveals that he's their fake uncle and the Thumb Thumbs beating him up, he puts the mustache back on. Man, I want to talk to whose creative choice that was and be like, hey guys, let's explore why. You know what I mean? So they find out that this guy is their real uncle. Also, back at Floop's castle, Minion betrays Floop, and he, I guess, is a lot more evil than Floop is. I think Floop is one of those guys, like, he just got roped to the wrong stuff. Obviously, he still needs to, pay for some of the terrible, poor choices that he makes. He doesn't pay, but, like, he really just wanted to make a show and make people happy, and then he kind of got caught up in the wrong stuff with the bad guy. Again, don't know a ton about the bad guy, but Minion is, like, an actual bad guy, and he betrays Floop. He takes off his glasses, much like the mustache, and we see that he's evil. Also, turns out that Carmen and Junie's dad, who also is named Zorro, he did know Minion from back in spy school when they were creating the third brain that could be put into these robot kids and murder everybody. When they were creating the third brain, Minion was trying to like put his own opinions and stuff in there. And they were like, no, Minion, that's not how it works. But he tried to do it anyway. So he got kicked out of school. So Minion's bitter. So it makes sense that he's here. And he's been pretending to work under Floop all this time because he's been waiting for this moment. He's just greedy and evil, and it's terrible. Anyways, back to their real uncle. Their uncle doesn't really want to help, and it really gives Carmen some good perspective about like the brother, like about siblinghood, about sibling relationships. She's kind of realizing like, I mean, they don't really say it, but she's realizing like, wow, this is kind of how me and my brother are going to turn out if we don't fix our stuff, which I don't think they ever say what their stuff is. I would have liked them to explore that a little bit more, but it works though. It works really well. So then another thing that confused me is that like, I thought he was showing them this really cool airplane that he had because he was like, well, if y'all want to use this to go and get your dad, you can use it, but I'm not going with you. Then the next morning they steal the plane and then he's like really mad about it. But then like 3 seconds later, he's waving like, bye-bye. Like he's proud of them. So, but I mean, I get it. Like this is a family trauma. Like I understand that there's a lot of mixed emotions and you don't really know exactly how you feel. So it's okay, Danny Trejo. Like I'm actually not going to hold that against you. So back at Floop's castle, the army's being built, but at this point, Carmen and Junie actually find Floop's castle. Some chaos ensues as they go on a mission to save their parents. At this point, Floop is now in captivity because Minion betrayed him, and Minion's apparently dating the girl that was the fake agent from the safe house, and now her hair is gone because it was set on fire. Isn't there like a Barbie doll from Toy Story? Where like her hair is all over the place or something. She looks like that. So there's that's happening. Then the kids go get their parents out. There's so much more that happens before that, but here we go. And it's actually worth watching. Carmen almost kind of sort of says a bad word, and I remember being very grieved in my spirit about that as a child. And if Bella watches this movie, I might be that mom that skips it. I know. So the kids go to get the parents out. Y'all, this moment in the movie was transformative for me as a child, and watching it again as an adult is always still. Hold up, I just remembered, bruh, I owned this movie on Apple, and I did a subscription. It was a free trial, but I'm mad. I'm a little bit mad about that. Anyways, I'm sorry. They used the acid crayon to get the parents out. An acid crayon. That is the coolest thing I've ever heard. Do you know how many times I went out to the wrought iron fence of our house with a crayon and pretended like I was breaking people out of jail? Oh my goodness. So stinking cool. So yeah, this is where she admits that she went to Belize. I have so many questions for you, Alexa. This is when they find out that their dad has been turned into a Foogly by Minion, and this is where they kind of start the fight initially with all of the bad guys. They turn Minion into this creepy, like four-headed monster Foogly thing. And they're kind of like, okay, we finished it. But no, like they started this fight, but it's not over yet. The bad guy has now shown up and he is waiting to meet his army. And Floop now has to somehow reprogram the third brain. How did they get the third brain back? I'm sure it makes sense. I just honestly forgot it. I think one of the kids stole it from Carmen and Junie. I'm not sure. But they had the third brain. It's been put into the kids, duplicated. It's like 500 bad kids, robot kids. So their only option is to reprogram what's going on in the robot kids' brains. They don't really have the option to like take the brain out. That's not nice. Just like take somebody's brain out of their head. What is wrong with you? I don't care that they're robots. They're still children robots. So Floop has to like reprogram it. And meanwhile, real Carmen and Junie, they're like fighting their robot selves after the robots have now captured their parents. It's like this huge presentation. They've been waiting for the bad guy sitting there. He's watching for all the robot children, Alexa Vega, her family. They're just getting ready to fight them all because they're just like, well, Floop is probably not gonna, do it. He's just over here trying to live on Easy Street, not actually following through. But yeah, so there's 500 of them total. And then Alexa Vega's like, we need one more person, which also that might be Junie's line. I actually can't remember. I know, I'm a terrible person. And then the donut guy, he comes rolling through the window and it's like, it's crazy. And then it's like a countdown into like when they're going to come and fight them. And the bad guy's like, tear them from limb to limb, which is aggressive. That is aggressive. I feel like if I was beating somebody up because I'm just mean or something, I feel like I'd start with a punch and see where we went from there. I can't imagine myself saying the words in truthfulness to someone. Tear them from limb to limb. That is brutal, but that's what he tells them to do. And then Floop figures it out. He's like, oh, of course. And then he presses 3 buttons. Okay, Floop. He presses 3 buttons and he fixes the problem. And then in 3, 2, 1, all the kids throw their hands up in the air and they're like, yay, and they're fun and they're happy. There's just one little adorable black boy in the way back. He's like I'm guessing like an extra. He is very confused. He seems like maybe his parents worked on set. And they were like, yo, we need one more kid to make it 500 because Alexa Vega already said that. And we got to like commit. You know what I mean? We got to commit to it being 500 and we only have $4.99. And he was just like, Mom, I really would like to eat my peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And she was like, buddy, I know, but if you do this, I will buy you another one when we get home. He's like, okay. And he's just like walking. I think maybe he's just trying to be a robot. I don't know. It's adorable. So they all run. They're like, yay. And they're throwing all the bad guys up in the air like it's a party. And they're just having a good old time. So, I mean, at the end of it all the robots become good. He has his TV show. Floop has his show. Junie had told him earlier that he needs some kids, so he implements the kids. And the robot kids, I mean, they're more than good. They're like literally helping out firefighters and stuff like that. So they're out here changing the world up in these streets. And the Cortezes, the main family, they did keep one of the thumbs as like a maid or a housekeeper. I'm not into that vibe. You know what I mean? Like if you used to want to tear my head off, and now, oh wow, you know what? I just realized I literally was about to like say something that was like 100% what I believe as a Christian. I was about to be like, I'm not gonna forgive you. You know what? But here's the thing. The Bible talks about humans, not thumbs. So if you are a thumb that tried to kill me, you're not coming to my house and making me waffles. No, because I don't trust you, thumb. I don't know if you're going to put fingernail clippings in my waffle. And that seems like something that you would do. And I do not want fingernail clippings in my waffle. So, bye, Felicia. You don't get to be up in my house. Also, then there's a cameo from George Clooney. He's inviting them to go on a mission. And Carmen's like, nah, bruh, like, it's got to be all of us. He only wants the kids to go on the mission, which is super cool. He says they're the best agents. I guess it's because the parents got kidnapped and the kids did not. Burn. What was that thing from Hannah Montana that, psst, ooh, I don't know what it was. Anyways, so that happens. And the uncle's there, Danny Trejo. And so all five of them kind of come into the webcam while they're talking to George Clooney, and Carmen has this tiny little dialogue where she's just like, look, family's the thing worth fighting for. That's pretty much what it ends on. And I love that line with a passion. It's absolutely beautiful. So yeah, guys, that is Spy Kids. I wonder if I can do, oh Lord, I dropped my lotion on the ground. I wonder if I can do a recap in less than 30 minutes. Can I? I don't know. I feel like that should be like a challenge that I bestow upon my life. But if you liked this length, then also let me know on social media, because, you know, that's the best way that I can find stuff out is by hitting you guys up and being like, what'd you think, girl? What'd you think, bud? Did you like it? Yeah. Anyways, guys, I do want to share just a quick word from one of our sponsors. I know that today is not, you know, I didn't really talk a ton about like mental health and stuff in this episode, but this is like such a powerful sponsor. They mean so much to me, and I'm not about to just reread what's in the ad. But yeah, so I will be back in just a second. Stay tuned. Hey y'all, I wanted to take a quick moment to share with you some info about one of my favorite sponsors of the Jamie Grace podcast. Y'all, when quarantine first started, I was not very interested in this whole online counseling thing because it made me really anxious. And as someone that has anxiety, I had to figure something out because a lot of things make me anxious. Eventually, I gave it a try, and I have to say that it's been very beneficial for me. So I want you guys, if you need to check out Faithful Counseling. Whether you have an anxiety diagnosis or you are dealing with the everyday frustrations of life, I can promise you that you will find it beneficial to talk to a counselor through Faithful Counseling. You can go to faithfulcounseling.com/Jamie Grace to learn more about the very affordable counseling that they have and the 4 different ways you can communicate with a clinical therapist. And if you'd like, they can incorporate some faith-based things as well into your counseling. Visit faithfulcounseling.com/Jamie Grace. That's faithfulcounseling.com/Jamie Grace. All right, friends. Well, thank you so much for listening to today's episode. You are an absolutely lovely human, and I really do appreciate your support. If you're not doing anything in a couple of weeks, I am having a free, open to the public, you do have to RSVP, but a totally free movie night where we're going to watch High School Musical. It was going to be a Patreon movie night, and there's a total explanation of all the things if you want it at jamiegrace.com/movie night. I really hope that you guys will come and join me, come hang out. It's going to be a ton of fun. The chat will be open so you guys can say all the things you're feeling, and I'm really looking forward to doing this commentary with you guys. Thank you so much, Grandma Yolanda, for doing a feature in this episode. It was a last-minute decision. I can't believe she was awake this late. What a joy. What a privilege. What a gem. What a gift. So yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. You can find me on Insta at Jamie Grace H. You can join the party and support this podcast at patreon.com/Jamie Grace. And you can find my website at jamiegrace.com. Also, make sure that you stay safe out in these streets because it's crazy. Show love, show Jesus, be a nice human, and if you fart, say excuse me. Okay, bye. Hey, hi, thank you so much for listening to my podcast. I actually put these episodes up on Saturday on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Overcast, wherever you listen to podcasts. And then when you guys really like episodes there, then they happen to find their way over to my YouTube channel on occasional Wednesdays. And so that's what you were just listening to. So thank you so much. If you are vibing with what you hear, click subscribe, check out the show notes, description, all that stuff. But yeah, thank you guys for listening, watching. Have a good day, and don't not